Oh, what's going on? What's going on? Man, finally got my business taken care of so I can relax for a little bit. Holy ish. But anyway, so I'm seeing a lot of things people talk lately anyway. In the last couple of days, I've been talking about a Javante Davis taking on a Devin Haney and taking on Devin Haney next. I mean, like Devin Haney's father's been in a couple of shows talking about it. About hey, you know what I mean, that they can somehow do that fight next, and they've been acting as if there's some kind of way around the Kambosos fight. I guess one of the things that people have said that is, hey, he can just go up to 140 pounds and he can fight Javante Tank Davis there because then the belts aren't on the line. And I guess what he's thinking is that, hey, then I can just come back down to 135 and I can fight Kambosos then, for the belts or whatever it is, or I can drop the belts and Kambosos can quote fight for the belts, which I don't know exactly who that would be against for all the belts. And just, cut to the chase. Don't believe none of the bullshit. It's all BS. Devin Haney is going to fight next, and the person he's going to fight is going to be against Kambosos. And he's going to be fighting him at 135 pounds. He's going to be fighting him for all the belts in Australia. That's what he's going to be doing. That contract, when they do those rematch contracts, those rematches aren't just for the, quote, the belts. The rematch is set up for that person, like, hey, you, the person, have to fight me. It's a rematch for the fight. Remember, they did the same thing with Tyson Fury. Supposedly, Tyson Fury didn't have to fight Deontay Wilder, and he could just drop the belts and he'd be fine, because then the belts empty is vacant, and Wilder can then fight for the belts, and that was a way out of the contract. And when they went through litigations, it was like, no, you're the person that was going. The rematch is for you as you, the person. It's not only about, quote, the belts. And not to mention, DeBella is not going to be dumb enough and idiotic enough to set up a contract in a way where there's a way of skating around that as it pertains to Kambosos. It's not the case. If anybody says anything, I don't care who it is, about this man fighting anybody else besides Kambosos, in the words of that they like to use, is cap. The person that Devin Haney is going to be fighting next is going to be Kambosos, and it's going to be in Australia, period. If he tries to fight anybody else, Kambosos is going to sue him. They're going to put a stay on that fight. He's not going to be able to fight whoever the hell he's trying to fight, and they're going to be going to court for that. And Kambosos is going to win that court case, whether it be in a couple, I guess they're probably going to have a mediation or whatever it is they have set up. Kambosos is going to win that, and he's going to have to fight Kambosos anyway. So if anybody was to be dumb and idiotic enough to even negotiate with him and set up a fight, all you're doing is putting yourself into a space where you're going to be sitting there for no reason, just like Anthony Joshua was when it came to Tyson Fury with the deal they, quote, supposedly had in place. That's all that's going to happen. Okay, that is literally all that's going to happen. And somebody like and even let's say they were capable of they were able to get past the whole Kambosos thing, you're still not going to have the fight, because Top Rank is not going to let Devin Haney go to Showtime PBC to do a fight. That's not going to happen. We invested all this money into this guy, but we're going to let him go ahead and go to Showtime to do a fight. And then we're going to take the 20% he's going to get. We're going to take a piece of that 20%, that 30%, because when they do the numbers, when you see Tank's numbers, when it comes to his gates, when it comes to his pay-per-view sold, and we put that up against Devin Haney's numbers, it's not even close. It's not even close. It's a difference between the moon and freaking Earth. It's a complete different level, and there's nothing wrong with that. The kid's progressing. He's doing his thing over there. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you look at those two, it's a completely different level. So the reality is, the percentile that they're going to be offered ain't going to be that much. It's not going to be that much, and that's the reality of the situation. And Top Rank is not letting him go to Showtime. And Tank's not coming over to Top Rank. He's not fighting on ESPN. If he leaves Mayweather Promotion, he's leaving Mayweather Promotions. It doesn't mean he's going to leave Al Heyman or leave Showtime and Espinoza with the great work that they've done. They just did over 300,000 pay-per-views. They just did a $5 million gate. He's basically doing Earl Spence numbers now. He continued to progress. And when you look at Showtime and their track record, Espinoza, PBC, Al Heyman, and you look at Top Rank and what they've been doing with their fighters, okay? When you're talking about gross fund money that's generated. It's not close when you're talking about promoting. It's not even close. So he's not going to leave the camp that he's on now that's continued him progressing to go to a lesser place in order to decline in everything. He's not going to do that. He's going to keep the same team. He's going to keep the same team. It's no different than Floyd Mayweather being, his own man. Did you see him jump from network to network to network to network? No, he didn't, because the way he saw it, I'm already with the best team that's out there. I'm already with the best team with Al Heyman, with Showtime. I'm with the best team. So people are going to have to figure out a way of getting out of their situations and their contracts to get to where Tank is, to get to Tank. You're going to have to make the moves that are necessary to get yourself over there where you can fight him. He doesn't need to make any moronic moves or put himself into a sketchy situation, especially with somebody who they just said, gave Kinahan $4 million. $4 million between the Tyson Fury and the Wilder fight. Somehow people are saying that all this stuff happened during that Wilder fight, and this man gave Kinahan $4 million for whatever, for advisory, because he needed to be help him and advise him when it pertains to this sport. You need him to advise you, who's been in the ring, who's been in the game for over what, 50, 60 plus years? For what? So what exactly did you pay for when it comes to that $4 million? He's supposed to go there, the place where everybody, Crawford right now is soon top rank. All these other people have soon top rank. He wants to put himself into that space where he could have his money stolen from him. That Devin Haney will be suing also in a couple of years. Yes, whether it be 5, 6, 7 years from now, Devin Haney will be suing Top Rank also, because that's just what they do. They steal money from fighters, and then they're okay, we're going into litigation, whatever it is, and keeping you there for years. They're cool with that. Why would he put himself into that situation? That's dumb. And a place that has shown that they're not good at promoting, especially when it comes to certain race of fighters. Why would they do that? Devin Haney just won undisputed. Before the undisputed match, they're showing 2 other 135-pounders that are saying were undisputed before him, and Kambosos and what's it called, Lopez? Teofimo Lopez. They're showing that after the fight, they're trying to put stain on Devin Haney and his performance. Right after the fight, then they put him on the pound for pound list, and then after putting him on the pound for pound list, like a week later they take him off. Why would he want to go there? Why exactly would Tank want to go there? It's moronic. There's no reason for it. Floyd Mayweather was the king, but he stayed where he was at. People had to find their way towards him. When Miguel Cotto's contract ended with Top Rank, then he went over and he fought him. Okay, that's how that happened. It wasn't an old Floyd saying, I want to fight Cotto, so let me go over there and fight. No, that's not what happened. When Shane Mosley wanted to fight Manny Pacquiao, guess what he had to do? He had to get himself out of the whole Golden Boy thing and go fight where Manny Pacquiao was. If any of these guys want to fight Gervonta Tank Davis, they're going to have to figure out ways out of the contracts and situations that they're in order to go over there. And the reality is, Bob Arum is not letting Shakur Stevenson go over there to have him fight Tank. They're not letting Devin Haney go over there to fight Tank. If they do anything, they're going to keep it in-house. And I find it kind of interesting that you got Shakur Stevenson, who supposedly wanted an undisputed when Kambosos had the belts. He's like, hey, put me in the hat. I'll fight for undisputed. So he wants all 4 belts. Now the 4 belts are in-house. The 4 belts are in-house now, yet the person that he continuously is talking about fighting is Tank Davis. And then you got this big fight that you can do. Devin Haney wants a big fight. You can do a big fight with a Shakur Stevenson. You can do a big fight with him. At 140 pounds, if that's where you want to go, you got Josh Taylor that's available to you at 140 pounds, where you can go fight him. With all this, I want to fight Tank at 140. You can fight Josh Taylor at 140 for 3 belts. That's also in-house. But you hear no talk when it comes to any of that. All they're doing is talking about Tank. Makes no sense. The one fight that's the hardest to make is the one that's supposedly, quote, you're focused on. That's BS. It's straight up BS. The reality is, we've seen how Top Rank operates, and we've seen how it operates for a very long time. When it comes to fights like that, they're going to keep those guys in-house. When it comes to the top-tier fighters, they're not sending their top-tier fighters out somewhere in what could be a dangerous fight. If Terrence Crawford was still signed to them right now, there'd be 0 chance of the Earl Spence fight happening. 0. Absolutely none. Until maybe it was at the the tail end of Crawford's career, and it was a situation where they're gonna split the money in half, and that money, that 50% is so substantially high, where they're like, all right, he only has 2-3 fights left. Besides that, it's not happening. You didn't see Adrian Broner versus Manny Pacquiao. You weren't going to see Danny Garcia versus Manny Pacquiao. You didn't see Keith Thurman versus Manny Pacquiao until Manny Pacquiao left Top Rank, because they were going to keep all those type of fights in-house. That's how they operate. So in the words that they like to use, if anybody says anything other than that from that camp, it's cap. They're full of ish. They know for a fact that the person that they're facing next is Kambosos, period. And then after they're done with the Kambosos fight, the next person after that is going to be with somebody from Top Rank, period. Whether it be at 135 or 140 pounds. And realistically, they're probably going to end up signing an extension with Top Rank. So the next couple of years, the reality is that probably the only people they're going to face is going to be people from Top Rank. Because Top Rank is not letting that man leave that division with those, or leave Top Rank with those belts. Either they're gonna they're gonna force him to do an extension where they shelf him until he does so, number one, or where he has to sit out basically a year and a half to get out of that contract. Either that, or they're just gonna rob him. They're just gonna do him dirty. That's all they're gonna do. Like when Manny Pacquiao was, ruffling too much, and made sure he lost against Bradley. When he was about to leave and be out the company, they made sure he took that L against whatever the kid his name is from Australia. They made sure he took that L. That's what they did. That's what they do in situations like that. They play dirty. They got no problem playing dirty. So all this, he can move up to 140 pounds or he can just drop the belts. It's BS. He has to fight Kambosos, and he has to fight Kambosos next, period. This is not a situation where he has the choice. When did this choice come from? We went from he's signing a slave contract. Oh, he's taking a pay cut. Oh, he has to fight him 3 fights under Top Rank, to all of a sudden now he has all this power where he can just leave, where he can just drop belts and not fight Kambosos. It's BS, man. He's fighting Kambosos next. Shakur Stevenson, he also has a fight against whoever it is that he has next. They won't even give that man a unification because they won't even give him a unification. They won't even do that because one of the belts is with the entity that's going to know what's going on with those damn books. You know what I'm saying? They don't want their cut, but they're also going to know what's going on with that stuff. It's not happening. It's just not happening. They want to keep, especially with him, everything completely in-house, where they can control everything. When it pertains to Devin Haney, it's going to be everything in-house. They'll let an outside fighter come and fight Devin Haney if they're a lower tier fighter where they know that, hey, it's easy money. But any fight that could be tough, that could go, like a Martin, they're not letting him fight Martin. That fight's not happening. When it comes to Shakur Tank Davis, that fight's not happening. Just like they didn't let Tank fight Valdez. Just like they didn't let Devontae Tank Davis fight Bert Schultz. They weren't even willing to let those guys go. But all of a sudden, they're going to let Devin Haney just go after they invested all this money into him already? It's not happening. Okay? It's not happening. So people are going to have to focus and talk on reality of what's going on. Whoever Tank ends up fighting next, we're not sure who that's going to be when they bring that up. We can talk about that. When it comes to Devin, the only person that people should be talking about as it pertains to him fighting next is Kambosos, and Kambosos, period. Because that's who he's going to fight. And that's it. Like, subscribe, share. I'm out.